Boom! And we are live once again. Create your new life real estate session, something that we do here, Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. I am your host, broker, CEO, Michael G. Davis. It's an opportunity for us to come together, talk a little bit of real estate, talk a little bit of life, as well as do some coaching for those that become involved. So again, welcome. Thank you for joining us. My people that are checking me out live on Facebook, those that have logged on today, Gerald and Jess, welcome, welcome, welcome. And we're about to get this show on the road. Yes, we are. So first off, we want to go a little bit into how we are now a part of our continuing education institute, which now offers CE credit. It offers CE credit for those that are licensed. So when it's time to renew that license, you ain't got to worry about elective credits because it's something that we offer. So just to make sure that everybody's on the same page as far as how to get those good CE credits, we're going to start off with a little bit of the guidelines. There's only 4 things you have to do. The student must be logged in at the time the session begins. The student must show the instructor their identification. Now, that's not something that we do once we go on a live broadcast. So our students show me their identification prior to us going live. We don't want all that personal information on Facebook, you know. So we do that prior to them going doing a live broadcast. The instructor has to be able to see the student's face the entire time. So I got to make sure that I see you down in the little corner. If anybody's ever done Google Hangouts, then you know what I'm talking about. Got to see your face, and then you got to stay logged on the whole time. So if you do them 4 things, then you get an hour of CE credit every time we do the Create Your New Life session. And I mean, that's in the 52 weeks in a year, a good at least 45, 42 of them. 40 hours, man, them elective hours will cover you for years. All you got to do is log on with your smart device. So that's how you qualify for getting your CE credit when you log on to our Create Your New Life sessions. Now, we are in the process of, looking for talented individuals. So whether you're checking us out on social media, Facebook, if you like what I talk about here today and you feel like as a brokerage firm is something that we can help you as far as develop and coach, we're a developing and coaching brokerage firm. So that's what we're about. That's what we use as our value proposition, is to take you from wherever you are as far as income wise in this business, take you from there and help you develop you to transition to doing much more than where you start. That's our goal, right? Because I look at it from this standpoint. I know brokerage fees are important to people. Commission splits are important. But at the end of the day, whether you at 50-50, 70-30, 90-10, 100%, if your production is 0, you making 0. So we're here to make sure that you're not making 0, that you're making something. So if you like what we have that we're talking about, dial this number right here behind us. Let's go ahead and get you in. I'd love to sit down and talk to you about what we can do to help you get to where you're trying to get when it comes to this real estate business. Now, with that being said, real quick shout out, not necessarily a shout out, real quick request. If you are licensed, whether you are with Brooks and Davis or with any other brokerage firm, we are currently looking for a team agent, somebody to come work with me and Larry. As far as our corporate team, we need to add to it for the level that we're growing. If you've been in real estate and you would prefer to work on a team, not necessarily by yourself, maybe you've had some challenges production wise. I don't want to like the hustle is kind of really getting to you. Let's have a talk. Call this number. Let's sit down. We need it like yesterday. And we can definitely show you the benefits of being one of our team agents. Just to give you a little, put it in perspective for you, our current team agent, as we looked at our quarter numbers, was the #1 agent in our organization. That ain't no coincidence. So if that sounds like you got to be full-time. You got to have some transactions under your belt. but that is a need that we're looking to fill immediately. So definitely call us on this number. All right. At any point, Jess, Gerald, if you guys want to talk or comment, I do have the chat box open. So I will see if you type it in there, or you can unmute yourself. If you want to comment, if you want to ask a question about anything that we're talking about. All right. Behind me, if you got kids in school, it's a Teacher Appreciation Week. So wish them, your teacher, take care of your kids' teacher. Put in a lot of work. This morning we sponsored a breakfast. This was one of the flyers that we were passing out at the teachers' breakfast, just to show some love to the teachers that are at my children's elementary school. So shout out to the teachers. And it was just a marketing piece talking about some down payment assistance that is geared towards teachers. So if you're a teacher and you're looking at this, there's money out there for you. And if you're a real estate professional and you're not letting teachers know that there's money out there for them, doing it. So shout out to my teachers. All right. So now let's go ahead and jump into this thing and see where it takes us. Now, the title of today's episode, now we're in episode 106, is selling the home the right move? Let's make sure. Now, that's a great question, because just because somebody wants to sell a home doesn't necessarily mean it's in their best interest to do it at that time. So what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about making sure that when you're talking with a seller, that that you're asking the right questions that are necessary to determine if this is the right move for the seller at this time. So that's what we're definitely going to be talking about that today. Now we're also going to be talking about some things. We got we have our podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about that and opportunities that we have there. We're also going to look at a home that within the loop, a gem of a home that's been remodeled, ready to go, under 160,000. It's a perfect move, a perfect property. When I start showing you the pictures, you're gonna be blown away. We're gonna revisit one of our best tools. This is we're doing a survey right now, and we're kind of gauging what the agents like as far as what we offer. And right now, what I'm gonna show you today is the number one thing that our agents love about Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. So we're going to spend some time going through that as well. All right. So now the quote that I had on all of our marketing is, what you do speaks so loud, ... Now let me finish those dots for you. That was actually a quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson. So if any of y'all remember y'all 12th grade English class, you probably had to read one of his poems or read a book that was by him. He's the one that started this quote out. Now, I love the quote, and the reason I loved it was because it actually says, what you do speaks so loudly that I can't hear what you say. See, I'm a real big behavior person, right? I hear you talking, but show me what you got going on. How you behave, what you do is what I'm concerned about. You can talk to me all day long. It's something that I tell my kids a lot as well. It doesn't matter what you say. The proof is in the pudding. You got to show it, right? So when I looked at Ralph Waldo Emerson, like I said, he was an essayist, a lecturer, a philosopher, one of the people that was really pushing at the turn of the century. He was an innovator. He was a leader. He was going against the status quo. My kind of people, right? Again, what you do speaks so loudly that I can't hear what you say. You need to think about that. Stop going around just speaking smoke and mirrors, just throwing stuff into the atmosphere. What matters is what you do. And that's all people care about, especially in real estate. I ain't talking about no other industry. I'm talking about real estate. People don't care what you say. All they care about is how you show up. It's all about results. So that's why we picked that quote for today. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump into our moment in core before we begin looking at how our company performed over this last week. So the moment in core is where I spend about 60 seconds diving into our ideology as an organization. So we're a company, we have a culture, and I do my best in multiple scenarios and situations to continually expose to our agents, our affiliates, and the world what we're about. So today's moment in core is going to be dealing with our purpose. What we see our purpose is as a real estate company. So our core purpose, and again, our core ideology consists of a goal, which is what we talked about last week. So if you missed our episode last week, I definitely say that you need to check that out, episode 105. We talked about our goal, our core goal. We have a core purpose, which is what we're going to talk about today. And we have core values. We have 5 core values that everything that we do is built around as an organization. So our core purpose is to create a greater experience for every stakeholder of the real estate community, right? Just like the slide shows, it's an imprint. Our purpose has to do with what imprint are we leaving forever in perpetuity? How have we made things better now that we've been a part of it than what they were before we came? That's what our core purpose is all about. And that's why I picked the seashell with the imprint in it. Because whatever you do, now again, we're talking Brooks and Davis. But realistically, in life, whatever you do, you should approach it with the mind frame of how am I causing an impact? What impact am I leaving? Is it a positive impact? Is it a negative impact? Are you just in the way? What is it really about? So our purpose is to create a greater experience. Any transaction that a Brooks and Davis professional is a part of, the experience is going to instantaneously become greater for everybody that's associated with it. We said every stakeholder in the industry. We're talking about buyers, we're talking about sellers, tenants, apartments, but we're also talking about lenders, title companies, inspectors, appraisers, right? Underwriters, banks, anybody that's a part of a real estate transaction, home warranty representatives, landlords, property management companies, anybody that we have to engage with. The fact that we have had interaction with you in this transaction, in this experience, automatically becomes greater. So that's our purpose, and that's our moment in court. All right, so now we're going to flow into kind of how the company's performed, what we've done over this last week. You know, who are our top producing agents at the current time. Let's see if that number 1 spot's been overtaken over some things that have taken place over the week. So we have had some new production. LaQuanta Davis added some production. The corporate team added some production. But we also had some agents that got some checks, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about getting to these checks. So congratulations to Kalima. She had a couple of checks that she got. Chica had a check that she was able to cash, right? So, you know, Margaret had some checks. So we had some people come off the list, and we also had some people get added to the list. That's why we look at this every week, because every week that thing can change. All right, so now let's check out where we are production wise. So again, we're a little less than 4 million. You know, I want us to get over that 4 million mark. It's just gonna take some work. Say we do what we need to do. I say over the next 30 to 60 days, we'll be there. We'll be over that 4 million mark when it comes to production. But with that being said, we don't want to stay there. So we do constantly want to have that flow of people going into escrow, getting under contract, and people closing and cutting checks, spending checks, right? So 3.5 million, a little less than 3.6 million as of May 7th. All right, so now let's check out my top 5. A top 5 agents. There has been a shift in all of this. So for the longest, Kalima McClure was our number 1 agent, right? But like I said, closing deals, cutting checks. lost her spot. So now she's been replaced with Laquana Davis. Now it was Kalima and Margaret was the 1 and the 2 last week, but down been switched out. Laquana's number 1, Brina's number 2. Margaret then fell down to the number 3 spot. And we got Chika and we have Kalima, who's still holding on to that number 5th spot. Now, where are my fellas at? Now, this about been like the 4th or 5th week that I ain't had no fellas on the top 5 producing agents list. Need to get my fellas back going on. Come on, guys, call me. Let's get this going. It's getting embarrassing at this point. The ladies are running away with it. I'm just joking. Congratulations, ladies. Keep up the good work. Again, those spots are they're never protected. Every week, you need to be looking behind you. Keep it moving, because any given week, most people are just one contract away from being on the list, being off the list, or moving up or down on the list. So always, if all you do is focus on making sure that you're continuing to do transactions, meet with buyers, meet with sellers, help them make decisions, get contracts, if you're focusing on that, you ain't got nothing to worry about. You always going to be on the top 5. So congratulations to him. We did sign on a new affiliate. We definitely want to welcome him to the family, Mr. Braylon Jones. So welcome. He is in the process of taking his classes. So, again, we encourage him to take full advantage of the benefits that you receive by being a part of our affiliate program. And again, if you're just kind of seeing us for the first time, our affiliate program is designed for individuals that are beginning a career in real estate. So they're just starting. They just need to be enrolled in one class. You get enrolled in one class, then come sit and talk with us about you having access to everything that our agents and a successful real estate brokerage firm does. So you can begin to see the practical side of what you're going to be doing when you get licensed. Look, that'll help you make a decision, because this may not be for you. I promise you, 15-year veteran in this business, there are so many people that this ain't for them. They just ain't figured it out yet, right? Here's an opportunity before you to waste all your time, because there's a lot of people that's been in it for years, and somebody should have told them years ago that this ain't for them. Now's an opportunity as an affiliate before you get your license and start having to pay all these fees. Come see what's going to be expected of you to be a successful real estate agent in this market. That's what our affiliate program is about. So if you're interested, call this number behind me. Let's schedule an appointment. Let's talk through it. And again, the only criteria is that you have to be enrolled in at least one real estate class. As long as you're enrolled in one class, you qualify to be one of our affiliates. All right. So welcome, Braylon. We're excited to have you on. All righty. So now we're going to jump into a beautiful. Now, this is actually a listing from one of our agents. So this is not a corporate team listing. One of our agents, Chika Momet. I think she was number 3 top producing this last week. So she's one of our top agents. And she picked up a listing a couple of weeks ago. Now, the good thing is, man, this listing is in the loop. It's in the loop, and it's under 160,000. And the client, they bought the house and needed some work. But I mean, what he does is he's a builder. And when I tell you he made this thing immaculate, the rehab that he did on this house, you have got to see it. For the price, I mean, you're talking stainless steel appliances, you're talking granite. I mean, this thing is phenomenal. So let's go ahead and check it out. Let's look at some pictures. Let's check it out. The property is 3626 Seabrook Street, Houston, Texas, 77021. All right. Like I said, we're talking stainless steel appliances, and they are going to add a refrigerator in there. So you come with all appliances. You come with washer and dryer, granite countertop, custom cabinets. When I went to look at the property, what tripped me out about this house was he put in the updated outlets. I don't know if you've guys seen these updated electrical outlets in houses where not only do they have the two plugs, the two prongs on the side, they have the little USB plugs on the of the on the house, on the side of the plug. So now the outlet has to where you can plug in stuff like your TV or radio, and you ain't got to worry about finding a wall square for your phone. You just plug in the little USB, boom, and it start charging. So he has a couple of those in the house, along with a host of other things that are builder specific, technology specific when it comes to the windows and things like that. So it's a phenomenal home. He's only asking $153.97 is what he's asking for that. Now, when I take you to the MLS write-up, so here's the MLS about it. Like I said, it's inside the loop. It's on Seabrook Street, close to 288. So you have entry in, entry out. Have no problem getting to the medical center, getting to downtown. You have no problem getting to the universities, whether that's TSU, whether that's University of Houston. You're not going to have any problems from where you're staying when it comes to this house. 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I mean, it's a phenomenal home. Let's take a look at some pictures. On a 5,000 square foot lot. Well, let me see the pictures. It's acting like you don't want to let me see the pictures. Trying to show y'all some pictures. You know what? Let's see. Oh, that's why. Did the print preview. My bad, guys. Let's see if I can hook y'all up real quick on some pictures. All righty, let's see. Picture is go here with it. There we go. See, that was that's an easy fix. I fixed that easy. Sometimes I impress myself. All right, so now we got it. Boom, there we go. Now we see some pictures. All right, so that's the outside. You see they did, he did the custom curb appeal, landscaping. You got your mini porch. You pop your seat down there and just kind of relax and take it all in. So that's the front. Look at the floors, hardwood floors throughout. Now, if you guys looking at me on live, unfortunately, you can't see what I'm showing them. But guess what? If you go to our YouTube page and the Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm YouTube page, and you subscribe to our YouTube page, we put all of the videos on there, and you'll be able to see what I'm showing the people that are part of the live broadcast on YouTube. So right now, go to YouTube, subscribe to our page. You'll get all the notifications, and I have a Create Your New Life playlist. You get to see everything. All right, so we got the floor. Now, what he did with this wall, which I thought, again, is one of those scenarios where you got to know what's going on. You know how we like to mount pictures? I mean, I'm not pictures. We like to mount TVs, these big, massive 50, 60, 70-inch TVs. What he did was, between this hole and this hole, there's actually a designated pipe that flows behind the wall. So when you mount the TV, none of your wires have to be exposed. They all flow through the back of the wall. Never seen nothing like it before. But again, he's a builder. It's the kind of stuff he's tapped in. He knows what's going on. So you put those type of custom features in a home, it's under 160, under 155,000, 153,974. I know this house is gonna go fast. It's gonna go real fast. I was telling you about them plugs that have the USB ports on them. So there's one of them right there. I know it's far away, but it's located by the front door. And I asked him, I said, well, why'd you choose to put it right there? He's like, well, our people come in and they're like, hey, you got a wall square, you got a plug, people looking for a wall plug for their phone. Well, he put it by the front door. So if somebody needs to charge their phone, they plug it into the outlet closest to the door and put their phone, and they won't forget their phone. I'm like, man, that made a lot of sense. So he has a couple of those plugs that's in there in the house. Stainless steel, again, stainless steel stove, stainless steel microwave. Gonna put a stainless steel refrigerator in there. We got granite countertops. Boom, there you go, granite. Brushed metal water fixtures in the sink, backsplash, phenomenal backsplash. Right, look at all that yard. Again, 5,000 square foot lot, but the house is flush towards the front. So you got all that backyard, and that's a church next door. That's a playground. That playground's in walking distance to the house. So if you got babies and they go to, say, you like a Lockhart, which is where my kids go to, I mean, you less than 2 minutes away from that house. So it's an awesome, phenomenal home for under, I can't say it enough, for under 155,000 in the loop. Where you gonna find a totally remodeled with features and stuff like that? Come on, man, you can't beat that. So if you're interested, let's get you on the line. Or if you have an agent, I mean, if you're one of our agents or you're an agent, you have a client that's looking to live in the loop, their budget needs to be under 155,000. We're at 153,974, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. This right here is a steal. Granite, stainless steel appliances. Come on, I know Chica's gonna move this quick, so don't waste your time. If you take too long, you're gonna miss out. So don't be the one to miss out. Go ahead and if you got a client, get them plugged in. All right. So now I talked earlier about, I was gonna show you guys a proprietary program that we have at Brooks and Davis that right now, as our agents are doing this survey, it's considered the top. It's considered the top tool or program that we offer right now as an organization. All right. And that's saying a lot because, you know, before I talked to you about our success in Real Estate Machine, understand that we have a lot of programs that we offer. Matter of fact, when I was doing the survey trying to determine what to send out of all the offerings that Brooks and Davis has, we're talking about over 30 unique things that we offer as a brokerage firm to people that are wanting to begin or already have begun a career in real estate. So our mural, again, you guys can't see it, go to our website, go to our Facebook page, YouTube page, you'll be able to. But as you can see here on our mural, I call it the mural, the value mural, there's a host of things all over the place that we offer and bring back. And this thing has grown over the months and years because we're always looking to innovate. We're always looking to bring in new programs and new more value to those individuals that are part of our organization. You're going to see a couple of things actually as we continue to talk through this thing. But the one that we really want to talk specifically about today is our success in Real Estate Machine. And I'm going to log into it. As we do our training today, because you know our training has been built around utilizing our success in Real Estate Machine and our Realtor Success Funnel. So I'm showing this video because, again, this is something that's on our YouTube page. It's a demo of the software. Now, unfortunately, our affiliates don't have access to this, but as soon as you get licensed, as soon as our affiliates transition over to agents, they're going to get licensed to what we're showing here in the Success in Real Estate Machine. Now, it's geared around our real estate funnel. Right? So what it allows for, like you say, how you can see right there, the real estate funnel. Every page that you go to, it showcases the real estate funnel. And now, as I'm having conversations with agents about particular areas when it comes to a transaction or a deal that they're working on, well, now I can use this as a resource, as a tool to point them to. So as I point it to them, it'll allow them to get to an understanding of what I'm talking about a lot faster, right? So again, the demo, it's on our YouTube page. Also on our, if you go to the link, which is, now you're not gonna be able to log in, but if you go to the link, bit.ly/success in RE, if you go to that link, this demo is on the homepage of that link as well. And just kind of shows you what all comes with it. So this was the #1 proprietary program, according to a survey that we just launched to our agents. It was the #1 value that our agents chose, was the Success in RE Machine software. Again, geared around our Realtor Success Funnel and how you can navigate and the ease of using it when working on deals and working on transactions. And like I said, you're going to see it. You're going to see that once we begin our training, because as I'm doing the training, I'm utilizing the Success in RE Machine. That's what I'm utilizing. Okay. All right. So with that being said, the final thing before we get into our training is wants to talk to you guys about our podcast. So we have the Prime Real Estate Network is a podcast that Brooks and Davis sponsored. Right, that was that's me. So that's when I was on there as my very first time on there. Let's see if it'll play for us. Yeah, right there. Talking on the podcast. That's me, right? So it's official. This ain't something that we just doing. Got our iPhone out that we just doing on a tripod. We're actually in a studio doing our podcast. So the podcast gives an opportunity. We do it every week. The Prime Real Estate Network on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. In addition to that, it is on YouTube. So we have a YouTube channel as well for the podcast. So if you go here, I pulled it up for us. If you go to YouTube and you type in the Prime Real Estate Network, then you'll be able to see all those episodes. Right now, I think they just did episode 41 of Real Estate Rock Stars, where they showcased 2 of our rock star realtors, Jessica Joseph and Margaret Harrison. They had them on there last week. And again, it's a showcase, it's a platform for our agents to come in, talk about things that they're into that are outside of real estate, talk about maybe some of their listings, talk about how they're looking to advance in real estate. But we have more than realtors on there. Like the week before, we had Marcus Tolson. He was an insurance agent. We've had people talk about property protection. We've had off-site meetings, like when the host, Ricardo Davis, who's also one of our agents, did a guest spot on someone else's show. We talked about leasing, the Lease It or Love It program. So my point is that not only do you need to go to YouTube and subscribe to the Brooks and Davis YouTube page, you also need to go to YouTube and subscribe to the Prime Real Estate Network. We have a show coming up on this Thursday, and check out to see who's going to be the guest, who's going to be the special guest. I know in my experience with the Prime Real Estate Network, we talk about a host of, again, the business that the entrepreneur brings. But if you're thinking about starting your own business, you want to hear the stories. You want to hear the what it takes. You want to hear the ups and the downs and the things to be on the lookout for. The Prime Real Estate Network offers all of that as well. So in addition to talking real estate and talking with the real estate professionals, we're also talking to them as business owners and entrepreneurs and getting an idea of what it takes to be your own boss, to be self-employed. So Prime Real Estate Network, again, every Thursday is when it goes live on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, uh, or Google Play, wherever you listen to your podcast. So I highly encourage you to check in on Thursday and download the app, download the podcast onto your phone so you can get the notifications. All right. So with that being said, we're going to spend the rest of our time, I guess about 25 minutes or so, going through our training. So now, remember, we are talking about working with sellers, working and how to list and market your home. Now, some assumptions that we made last week was that we are coming from the standpoint of this is a client already. They've hired you. Right? So we're not talking about how do you generate the seller lead. We're not talking about how do you convince, how do you operate on the listing appointment. We're not talking about that. We're talking about once they sign the listing agreement, what's the rest of it? What's the fastest way to get you to a check, right? So that's what we're picking up today. Now, we always start with this bad boy right here. Our success in real estate, our realtor success funnel. That's where we always start. That's where everything begins. And again, like I said, we're not talking about skill set 1 and 2 or 3. We're starting at skill set 4. We're starting at once they've signed paperwork and now they're a client, how do you get them to the next phase, which is down here to this closing table? Because let me tell you something about closing. Closing is in the best interest of everybody. It's in your best interest. It's in your client's best interest. So y'all are on the same team. Let's get you there. So that's what this is going to be about today. So now, like I said, we're coming from a place of the success in real estate machine. So now I showed you a video. I showed you the demo and everything, but now we're going to go ahead and log into it. So right here, I'm going to show you again. So for those that hadn't seen it before, you go to bit.ly / it's right here, or bit.do / success in RE. Here's the little demo video that I was telling you about that's on the homepage to where you can see us working through it. But if you have a login, if you're one of our agents, you click on login. And then you can click on it here at the top, or you click on it at the bottom. So my credentials are already in there. Put my credentials. And then we're going to log into it on today. So today, we're going to start off with skill set number 4. Now, the reason we're starting off with skill set number 4 is because there are that you're going to need from the listing consultation that you're going to need as you continue to traverse the entire process. So that's why we're starting with skill set number 4. Now, we're not going in depth with skill set number 4 because we're working from the place of them being the client already. And skill set number 4 has to do with ensuring you leave the consultation with a client, which is more of the listing appointment. But we're not coming from that place. But we need to discuss that part of it because again, there are items that we're going to use as we continue forward through the process. All right, so now we're going to go back to the Success in RE machine, and now we're starting at skill set 4. So we're skipping these other ones, and we're going to click on skill set 4. When we click on skill set 4, now we're only concerned about for sellers, so we're going to let the buyers do what they do. We're going to click on sellers, and then it's going to take us to a page, a portion of the entire written process for working with sellers. Last week, I kind of went through the whole thing and I showed you guys the process for working with sellers. Understand it's a massive process from beginning to end, from initial conversation to close. There's a lot of moving pieces. Well, we don't want you to get drowned in the the size of the process. So we broke it down into chunks. So what's in the green is just that area of that chunk. Now, this again talks about preparing for the initial property consultation, which is what we call listing appointments. But we don't need all of this. What we need within this process is a couple of things. One, if you look at bullet number 3, it talks about the initial property consultation checklist. The initial property consultation checklist is something that we need that you get from skill set number 4. See, so as I scroll down and I see right here, initial property consultation checklist, this is the form that I'm referring to. Now, although we take this form with us on the listing appointment, when they hire you, this is the form that transitions them from a customer to a client. And it gives you all the information that you're going to need when transitioning them, when creating the property folder, when sending them emails and all of that. So although you initiate it when you're going to the appointment, this is a form that you're going to need once you become a client. So this is actually a form that we're going to refer to later on in the process as well. You see how it captures all the contact information at the top. It also talks about what type of property that we're dealing with, and then it makes sure that you have everything that you need for the initial property consultation: your tax record, the employment agreement, your order form. It talks about what type of it, so it keeps you on track. But again, this is the form that helps you transition from customer to client when they agree to hire you. So that's why we're going to show that form. All right, another form that we take from skill set number 4 has to do with the employment agreement. So if we go back to bullet number 3, we already talked about the initial property consultation checklist. Another form that we're going to need, you're also going to need the property tax write-up. Now, the property tax write-up is not a form that you're going to get out of this system. That's a form when you go to HCAD or you go to, like I said, now I'm speaking to my realtors. You go to HCAD or Fort Bend CAD, or you use RPR, or you use Realist, which comes through HAR, and it gives you the write-up. So all you do is you plug in the address. So whoever you're going to meet with, you plug in their address. This is due diligence that you do prior to going to the appointment. Plug in their address, you get their tax write-up. Now, again, that's a form that you're going to need once we start putting the property on the MLS. You're going to need that form as well. Another thing that we're going to need that's out of this list is your employment agreement. This is the form that they sign when they hire you. You can't put people's properties on the MLS or put signs in their yard or put lockboxes on their door, or you shouldn't be doing it if you don't have something in writing. A person hiring you means that they are putting something in writing as far as you all's arrangement and relationship. So don't be treating people like clients when they're really customers. Because the thing that determines the difference between a customer and a client is, do you got something in writing that defines your relationship? Well, that listing agreement, that employment agreement, they put that in writing, they sign their name on it, you sign your name on it, now they're your client. All right. So, but that's another form that we're going to need as we're transitioning your client through the process. We're going to need that employment agreement. We're going to need that too. All right. So those 3 things, let me make sure that's everything. Yes. So those 3, the reason that we started at skill set 4 is because we wanted to highlight the fact that from that meeting, you're going to need, once they say yes and they hire you, you're going to need the initial property consultation checklist. You're going to need the employment agreement or the listing agreement, and you're going to need the property tax write-up to help you with other areas of marketing the property and putting the property out there so you can get it sold. All right. So now we're going to spend a little bit of time in skill set number 5, because skill set number 5 is now they're a client, right? Skill set number 5 is getting the client under contract as soon as possible. When working with sellers, the way to get the client under contract as soon as possible is it deals with 3 things. It deals with exposure, right? How much exposure you're giving, like more than the sign in the yard, more than putting it on the MLS. Exposure is how intentional are you as far as being creative, coming up with ideas, coming up with ways to really expose the property. So exposure is one. The second thing is follow-up. The second thing is follow-up, right? So now when your exposure is working, whether that is a sign, whether that is on the MLS, or say you're doing the reverse prospecting that HAR allows, and you're making phone calls to agents that are in the area. Maybe you're sending flyers, email blasts, like whatever you're doing. When people begin to respond to your marketing, well, how solid are you with your follow-up, especially that initial follow-up, whether it's an agent or whether it's a buyer? If somebody shows interest in the property, you need to quickly respond, whether that's text message, email, phone call, social media, DMing. Like there's so many ways to engage with people that you got to be quick, right? Don't take it for granted that people are going to wait and they're going to be there, right? Also, don't take for granted that if you do follow up and say they don't answer the first time or say they don't call you back, don't take for granted that means that they're not interested in the property. That may not be the case. We all get busy. We all get sidetracked. We all get distracted. So if your client is the seller and you're hired to sell the property, then you got to take the next step, and you have to do what is required and what it takes to ensure that the house gets under contract. So that requires follow-up, an extensive follow-up. So exposure 1, follow-up 2, and the last one is negotiation. Negotiation, how skilled are you in negotiating, right? Because it's not a matter of just getting it under contract. It's you're getting it under contract and you got to get it to the closing table. If you do bad negotiations and you're not putting your client in the best situation, or even with how you negotiate when you're dealing with the buyer and the buyer's representative, and you're not on the same page going into this thing with them, then you're cruising for this thing to blow up. And look, the worst thing that can happen, you get right before closing, some things that could have been dealt with in the beginning get hashed out and possibly kill a deal. So how skilled you are in negotiating on the front end really facilitates and helps as far as getting that house sold. So skill set number 5 deals with all of that. Again, working with a seller client, it's exposure, it's follow-up, and it's negotiation. Those are the 3 things that offer you a high level of success when working with sellers, putting houses on the market and getting them sold. All right. So when we go back to Success in RE Machine, and we go back to our dashboard, and there are 2 ways we can get the skill set 5. We can go here, or we can just click this link down here. Now it's going to take us to skill set 5. And we get our list again for buyers, or it says click on the type of client. So now it doesn't say click on the type of lead or click on the type of customer. It says click on the type of client, because this is a client. Skill sets 5 and 6 are the skill sets that are needed when people are your clients. So we click on for sellers because we're not worried about buyers. We're not worried about tenants or apartments. As far as this discussion, we click on for sellers. So now this process is important, and we're going to go through it kind of verbatim. All right. So again, it's an excerpt. This is an excerpt of the entire process for working with buyers. Like we click here, it takes us to the entire process, which is this. But just the green area is from here to here. So just this section of it is the green area, is the section here. Now, skill set number 5, again, it says getting the client under contract as soon as possible. Once you have a client, your number one goal, your number one intention is to get them under contract, and not get them under contract when you can or when you get them there or be lackadaisical about it. You need to put some fire under your behind, and you need to be intentional about pushing to get that thing under contract. That's what needs to happen. So, just like I said earlier, this part of the process begins when the customer signs the employment agreement. Because guess what? When the customer signs the employment agreement, at that moment, they are no longer a customer, they are a client. So it starts with that part. Right? Now, when the customer signs the employment agreement, it says, see the accompanying items and processes that the Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm Transaction Coordinator uses. And then in parentheses, it gives us 2 processes. It gives us the process for introduction of new property production client or seller client. And it says the process for Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm Virtual Office Administrator. Now, guess what? These processes are the actual processes that the corporate team uses as we facilitate working with sellers. But with that being said, there are things that the corporate team has that you are not going to have. Like, you are not going to have a transaction coordinator when you first start. You're probably not going to have a virtual office administrator or a virtual assistant when you first start. Why? Because those things cost money. And more than likely, you don't have the money to pay for those things. Your business, you're not doing the kind of business that you need to be doing to need those kind of things. So I said that to say this. When I show you these processes and how to look at these processes, where it says virtual office administrator does this, or where it says transaction coordinator does this, you know who they're talking about? They're talking about you. That's you. You, your virtual assistant. You, your transaction coordinator when it comes to these processes. So now when it comes to the processes, to find those that we're referring to, it's here. Onboarding the new seller client. In this folder, are the 2 processes. It gives us the property production checklist, which is something else that we're going to look at. It gives you the process for introduction of new property client, transaction coordinator, and then process for new property production client, virtual office administrator, which is you and you. When you click on these processes, then it tells you when we're hired what our process looks like as we're working with the new client. So those are the items that our in-office transaction coordinator does, or the company manager. And then if you click on this process, this is the processes that our virtual office administrator does, or our virtual assistant, the person that is off-site. Now, the difference between a transaction coordinator and a virtual assistant is transaction coordinator is a human being that works inside of the office, somebody that I can touch, feel, talk to, do all of that with. That's our transaction coordinator, or we call it a company manager now. And when I wrote when we did all these processes, it was transaction coordinator. It's company manager. All right. Virtual office administrator, somebody that can do anything that can be done online on the internet. They ain't got to be in the office. All of those assignments are given to our virtual office administrator. Now, guess what? We spend less money for a virtual assistant than you do for an office person. That's why you want to make sure that your office person is doing the more higher return activities, and all of the lower return activities, which is typically the items that can be done online, are given to the virtual assistant, where you have a lower dollar per hour. But again, in your instance, before you get to that point, when you're reading those processes, the person that they're talking about is staring you back in the mirror. It's you. That's your role. All right. So that's that part of the process. All right. So now all of that, this whole first sentence talks about, paragraph talks about onboarding the new client, and those processes are found here in that folder. All right. So now it talks about scheduling a date and time for the initial characteristic appointment to take pictures, place the sign, and put out measurements, etc. And then it goes into the initial characteristic appointment. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you guys the checklist. I'm going to show you the checklist for the initial characteristic appointment. I'm going to show you this for the property production checklist as well, because it's all about being organized. That's what this thing is all about. Being organized. If you're ever going to do a level of scale, you're going to scale your business up, then you're going to have systems, you're going to have checklists. Before you even get to the point to where you're hiring people, you better be organized. So that's what all of this is about. How we organize, how we operate our business. And you ain't got to reinvent the wheel. Do the same thing that we do. Okay? So that's what we're going to highlight. Now, I went to, what are we doing? Uh-oh. Oh, man. Almost done. Having technical difficulties. Technical difficulties on the internet. Look, Gerald can't see me. Gerald, can you see me? Can you hear me, Gerald? Nod your head if you can hear me. You can hear me? Can you see me? Can you see me too? Can you see me? You can see me? Cause I can't do nothing. I'm frozen. Frozen. It froze me up because it's raining. Oh, I'm gonna try something. I think I did this last time. All right, don't go nowhere, dear. Don't go nowhere. Just stay there, Jared. Hold on. To respond.
Can you see me now?
Yeah. Can you see me?
I can see you fine.
All right, don't go nowhere. I'm gonna have to. My system is jacked up.
Oh man, I wonder what happened.
Yeah. So hold on. I'm finna log out and log back in, but it shouldn't do nothing to you. Hold on.
Okay.
back. Yeah, it gets to raining around here, and then AT&T gets to tripping, but we back on now. So, man, I forgot what I was talking about. Fooling around with this thing. But I know I was at the tail end of it. Oh, I know what it was. I was about to show y'all some checklists. All right. Now I told Gerald not to get off the thing. He still got off of it. All right. But so the checklist. So appreciate y'all being patient. All right. So the two checklists that I was talking about, and then we're gonna wrap it up for today, had to do with the if you go into the onboarding the new seller client, right here, property production checklist. Now, this is the checklist. We talk about you being organized. You use this same checklist for every single seller client that you have. This will help you be organized. It will help you be able to handle more than one or two listings or three listings at any given time. It will help you handle a large amount or a large inventory of listings. If you're ever going to grow your real estate business, you have to have multiple listings, because listings is what drives buyers. And that's how you can grow your real estate business. Well, for you to ever have that, for you to ever have a large amount of listings or a large inventory of listings, you will have to be organized. And again, this is the checklist. So you see, we address many things like the intro to new client tasks, creating property folder, which I'll show you guys next week. The signed docs, client welcome phone call, we'll talk about that. Thank you cards. So there's a host of things that the checklist ensures that you do with every single seller client that you have. It's kind of like going to McDonald's. You go to McDonald's, you know what you're getting. There ain't gonna be no surprises. Whether you go to McDonald's here in Houston or you go to McDonald's in China. Now, China McDonald's may get stuff before the Houston McDonald's get, but at some point, guess what? It's coming. The fries gonna be on the same side of the restaurant. The burger's gonna be on the same size. The menu gonna look the same. It's gonna be the same. So McDonald's, guess what? They're a franchise. They have a model. When you sign on as a new McDonald's owner, you can't be changing nothing. They're gonna give you a checklist, and you better operate by that checklist. We're the same way. So what the checklist does, it ensures that every client gets the same experience. Everybody that goes to McDonald's gets the same experience based on how they train, how they develop. It's the same thing with our checklist. All right. So I'm going long today. So what I'm going to do is, we still have some time to go through this. No big deal, even though the rain tried to stop us, but they're not going to hold us down, because we're going to make it happen, and we're going to keep, and we always got next week. Right. Anyway, we're going to talk next week. We're going to pick it back up, and we're going to talk about, I'm going to show you guys the initial characteristic checklist. We're going to look at that. We are also going to go into a little bit more detail of the property production checklist, the thing that I showed you here. We're going to go in a little bit more detail of that. We also are going to look at when you're first sitting in front of the customer and they're wanting to sell their home, how to make that go easier for them, right? We're going to look at, making sure that when we're dealing with them and we are having these conversations, how to ensure that the conversation is smooth, how to ensure that when you're explaining different things to them, that they're fully comprehending what you're saying to them. So we're going to look at that as well on next week. All right. So since the rain made me lose all my people, we don't have any coaching today, but that's all good. Again, and I always like to end with this. As a brokerage firm, we offer CE credit. We offer elective CE credit. So if you're coming in and you're looking a little later and you didn't see this slide when I showed it earlier, you know, one thing that we do with our Create Your New Life sessions when you participate in the live session, right? So I had 2 people participate today before the rain knocked us off. But as long as the students logged in, they're showing the identification of who they are as they registered. I'm able to see their face and they stay on the whole time. Every time we do a Create Your New Life, agent gets CE credit. So by the time it's time for them to renew, they ain't even got to worry about any elective credits. So if you liked what what you heard today, if you're checking us out on our Facebook or on our YouTube page, do the things that I encourage you to do. Maybe you're thinking about making a change. Let's have a sit down. Let's talk through it. Let's talk about development. Let's talk about what can be done to enhance your career, your real estate experience. These are the conversations that we're looking to have with people. In addition to, we are looking to add a team agent. We're looking to grow our team. So we need somebody that, again, they're kind of done with the hustle, the rustle and the bustle and the grind of things. Come talk to us. We got a solution for you, right? We make sure, because we provide so much, well, we just need you to follow instructions. If you follow instructions, you'll be successful. That's the kind of agent that we're looking for to join our corporate team, and we're looking for that immediately. With that being said, I am about to pull up my music. Let me crank it up, and we about to get up out of here.
Shall we begin?
No, we got another one in the books. Create Your New Life real estate session in the books, March 7th. I am your host, CEO, broker, Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. Definitely do what I said do. Go to our YouTube page so you can see the whole video. Sign up for the Prime Real Estate Network, right? Let's think about what Ralph Waldo Emerson talked about as far as forget what you say, it's about what you do, all right? If you're thinking about making a change, call the number behind us. We wish you well. Remember our affiliate program, all the things that we have to offer. We're here for you. Again, Michael G. Davis, Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, signing out. We'll see you next week, God willing. Have a good one.